to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast.
Welcome, guys, to the Gulf Coast Music Podcast. Today's new wave, Contingence.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
For sure. Where are you guys coming from?
We are from, the two of us are from Fort Walton Beach,
Yes.
and these two are from the mean streets of Navarre.
And what's the biggest difference between Fort Walton and Navarre for anybody that's not from Florida originally?
I would say Navarre is a little bit further from where the majority of the population is at.
If you can move the mic.
Oh, my apologies. Fort Walton is kind of like the main area, and as you get into Destin a little bit busier.
Right.
Navarre's kind of on the outskirts, not as developed.
Right.
A little less touristy.
Yeah, you know,
Very
they got
woodsy.
yeah, the military has a lot of area in that area that doesn't get developed.
Gotcha.
So it's not as populated.
In Navarre?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fort Walton's where locals live, but it's not rural. It's a little more.
Gotcha.
It's a little more city.
Cool. Well, cool. Yeah, that's Marcus, just let me know if my head kind of enters this frame at all. Awesome, man. Have you guys ever recorded or performed or anything in Mobile?
I don't think so.
Nice. And did you guys start in October with Civil War as the first song? Was that you guys' like first song, or were you guys making music before then?
So we're siblings. We've been making music for like most of our lives.
Right.
When did we start jamming? Around
Probably a little bit towards last year.
like November, December-ish. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
They were hitting me up probably like a year or two ago.
Yeah, we all kind of met a little over a year ago.
Gotcha.
Me and Curtis met. He told me about Tevin. We kind of had some stuff we were working on. We were looking for people to play with.
Right.
People that were interested in developing like original music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cover bands in that area, but we like writing.
Right. So Civil War was a song that you guys had made prior to Contingence.
Well, we were still Contingents, but just
It was just the two.
it's
of us.
just the two of us.
Okay,
We were
gotcha.
looking to expand, but yeah, prior to
Right.
us all playing together. So the album that we're working on now will be our first project as
Sure.
a group.
Cool, man. Yeah, I've never been in a band, and I admire kind of the way that it grows. How did you guys decide to bring on Tev and Curtis?
This guy is the man with the plan. This guy has tons of experience and
Yeah.
equipment. Both of these guys are vetted musicians. So when Curtis kind of looked at what we were doing, him and Tevin both were like, we'd like to be a part of it. And so we kind of all came together on that. But you should tell them more about what you guys have done prior to that.
Right off of the rip, musician that works with a lot of other musicians in the local area, you tend to gravitate more towards personality. Everybody's got talent.
Gotcha.
But, you want to find like-minded individuals that you can be creative with, grow with, and not face any hassles. Right?
Sure.
So you add the recipe of good individual, talented individual, driven individuals, you got something cool. Right?
Sure.
So the rapport was already there. Then this young lady opens her mouth and you hear her sing.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey man, if you guys are missing some pieces, me and my buddy, I feel like we could fill those pieces for you. You
Right.
know? So I saw a video that he had posted at a venue that was one that I go to whenever I play with other musicians, and I was like, it was him on piano, her on vocals. He does drums. I could do guitar or bass. I said, put us in, coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you need help,
Yeah.
let's get together and let's jam a little bit. In my house, you walk in, plug in, play. There's equipment all over the place.
Yeah.
To support any type of scenario. You're trying to jam quietly, we got some electric kits and some headphones.
Yeah.
Trying to get loud, we got a drum set and a PA.
Yeah.
So we jammed a little bit, and a little bit became a little bit more, and continuing to progress,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where we're at. That's how it started, and that's kind of where we're at.
Looking to transform your property into something remarkable? Land Refiners is your trusted, locally owned land services company based right here in Baldwin County, Alabama. Whether it's forestry, mulching, land clearing, tree and debris removal, demolition, grading, or even emergency services, Land Refiners has you covered. They work on both residential and commercial properties, bringing efficiency, professionalism, and results that last. Their team is licensed, insured, and proudly serves Baldwin County, Mobile County, and surrounding areas. At Land Refiners, they don't just move dirt, they build lasting relationships by exceeding expectations every time. Call today or visit landrefiners.com to schedule your free consultation. Land Refiners, local, reliable, refined.
Euphoric.
Let's change the subject. I can talk about your looks for days.
Take it off your mind. I could do this all the time. I could lay it on the line, and I could drop it on the dime. Let's go.
For 7 years, I've been shedding tattoo tears. Sideliners, urban game on the pup list. Yeah, blessing on all of my haters, that's just what it is. Yeah, to live.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't let the dogs out. The City of Mobile Animal Shelter has many loving pets ready for a nice home. Whether you're looking for a dog like Snoop or a cat like Doja, the City of Mobile Animal Shelter is where you can find your next friendly companion. They're located at 855 Owen Street, and you can stop by anytime between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We all need a little bow wow in our lives. Call 251-208-2800 because the City of Mobile Animal Shelter has you covered. That's 251-208-2800. Roof. So, the jam sessions take place at your house then?
Correct, sir.
Gotcha. And is there ever a point when the neighbors are like,
That's a good question. So, my
That's an
parents,
excellent question.
my parents are my neighbors,
ah, good.
and the width between the houses, as long as I don't have drum triggers at like midnight, I think I'm okay.
Nice.
Drum triggers enhance the sound, and it goes into the PA, and it sounds like a stadium.
Right.
As long as those triggers are not blasting, I think we're okay.
July 4th and New Year's is your best friend.
I get a hall pass.
Yeah, that's fine. But where does the name Contingence come from?
So, about 11 years ago, I came up with that name because I wanted to get a name that embodied like connection and affinity, like the domino effect.
Okay.
Everybody plays a part in each other's story.
Right.
Just by you walking by somebody down the street, that simple little interaction that the two of you've had, you've played some part in altering their day.
True.
When you write a song, it's typically about the way something or someone has altered your life.
Right.
A relationship, a new job, or maybe the loss of either of those things. You've moved to a new place.
Right.
You've got all these feelings and emotions. You channel them into your music. You write something about it. Whoever had a part in that or whatever had a part in that, that's Contingence right there.
Have you ever watched The Truman Show?
Yes.
Yeah. It's definitely got some Contingence in there where it's like it kind of puts this guy's life on the mainstream, and you just see how like different people's interactions affect his day.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, that's a great way to look at it. And another question I had as you were kind of breaking down the band's cultivating was describe the magic of a band. You know, like, because again, I've never been in one, but there's like a certain chemistry or Contingence. Describe like the magic that goes into a successful operation like a band.
I think it's really special as like a songwriter. You might have like a specific idea, like when you write a song originally.
Right.
Especially if you think you've written it start to finish of how it's going to sound in a specific way. And then coming together with different people, you know, they can either throw it off really bad and you don't like it and it doesn't mesh, or it comes together and it just makes it so much better and like fuller and like full of life. And that's definitely what playing with these guys is like, is
For sure.
you can take them something that's super basic and it's like, this may just be how I feel, but now it's like just this such bigger feeling. It's really cool.
The individuality.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different vision for
Right.
their part in their head than you may have. And
Right.
Instead of it being just one emotion, it puts so many different emotions
Yeah.
into it.
Right. It's kind of like dropping a certain color in a tie-dye mix of colors and seeing how it evolves.
For sure.
you can't predict it.
Right. And who does most of the writing typically from the band?
I start a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's what I do most of my time. I love writing music.
Gotcha.
And then he comes with
The riffs.
kind of adds more to it, and then it finishes out with all four of us. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. How does it affect you when maybe your idea gets altered in the writing process, but like based off of their opinions?
I think she'll voice it.
Yeah.
She'll be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, you're too fast."
Do
it again.
That is one. They love to speed up the songs. I'm like, I can't keep up. I can't say these words that fast.
Yeah.
But no, for the most part, it either goes really well, and it's like you have to say nothing, no notes, or it's like, nope, that didn't work. Do it different next time.
Yeah. What's the average amount of time that it takes for your idea to be kind of understood amongst the rest of the band and then formulated into a song?
They're really fast with it.
It kind of depends on where it comes from.
Yeah.
I feel like there are times where I'll write something and I have it in my head like exactly how I want it.
Right.
And I'm trying to work with it and like work it out, and that process may be delayed, but there are times where she'll come with something and bring it to me, and the two of us will go out in our garage and jam it out, and like that it just kind of starts coming to life. So I think it just depends on what the project is.
Yeah, that's a good segue into the next topic. Elaborate more on that sibling relationship with music.
that's a loaded question. We I don't know, we used to fight a lot when we were younger, but as we've gotten older, we've gotten a lot closer.
Yeah.
And I feel like we write better when we work together.
We
Yeah.
definitely got closer because of music too.
Really?
When we started playing music together, we stopped fighting pretty much.
For instance, we wrote, produced, and recorded Civil War within like 2 days.
Damn. That's crazy.
That doesn't happen all the time, but we just kind of leveled up on that
Who
one.
produced it?
The two of us. Yeah, I have like a
That's really
home
well
studio set up.
produced.
Before we were working with these guys, I was just kind of working out of my bedroom.
What'd you do to create such an airy vibe amongst the instruments and the vocals?
So trying not to do too much reverb, but a good amount of reverb, but also layering her and I's vocals, and I think we may have a third person in there. No, we don't. Not that one. It's just the two of us. But we layered them repeatedly, added a little bit of reverb to
Right.
each one, and I think I went back and tuned each one down and then added reverb on the whole track just a little bit to make it, I wanted it to kind of feel like haunting.
Gotcha.
Almost.
We got really good at making like not sound like necessarily multiple people, but getting like the more
Choir.
sound with the song we wrote. We never released it, but a song we wrote a while ago, and we had like a full choir in it, but it was just me layered like 70 times.
Damn.
And it was really cool. We never got to release that one, but
When
taking
it,
elements of different songs that we didn't ever fully finish
Right.
and putting them into the stuff that we did finish is really helpful.
that's really cool. How long has it taken you to learn production?
So I learned production on the back end of COVID. I learned a little bit at the beginning, and I kept making stuff, and I'm like, why does it sound like thin? Like you can't really hear all the sounds.
Right.
And I'd made like a YouTube playlist of all these different master classes on using Logic Pro X.
Gotcha.
I went from GarageBand to Logic Pro X. I watched that and I locked myself in my room for like 4 hours at a time for like a week straight.
Yeah.
I may have even had COVID during that.
Yeah. People don't understand like how much it takes to be a good producer. Like I'm definitely not a good producer, but like you said, like with just this past school year, we got a studio, and just after class, it was always on my mind. I would just be in there for like 12 hours, and 12 hours is nothing to learn in like production. You know, it takes so much time, so much trial and error. But yeah, as you were saying,
It took me learning that to just figure out how to use the equipment
Yeah.
or the software as a whole. But I had a song, just an instrumental song that I wrote. I did have COVID at this time. I wrote it while I had COVID, and that was the first one I produced. No vocals. The vocal production, that took a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But this one kind of helped me walk through start to finish. And what I did was mapped out each individual part. I tried to do everything exactly how the notes that I had taken from the master class said to do it, give myself a blueprint.
Yeah.
And from there, I kind of learned as I went. And then this dude needs to tell you a little bit about his production setup, though. He does some production too. And he's got a lot more hardware than myself.
Yeah. So
You mind scooting a little bit closer, Kurt?
absolutely. So Tevin does audio as well, does vocals, and I do instrumentals. I've probably been producing since I was 16.
Yeah.
My house looks like a guitar center. From drum production, audio production, guitars, bass, recording bands, Christian bands, rock bands, death metal bands, punk rock bands, gospel, hip hop.
This man has been recording me since I was 12.
Since he was 12. So I had a recording studio in Fort Walton Beach.
Right.
And at a young age, his band was one of the first bands that I recorded. And even at 12, he was hitting drums like Animal from Muppet Babies. He was just a power hitter. And that type of energy behind a drum set, it could put some damage to some skins, but he's pretty explosive when it comes to capturing that tone.
For sure, for sure.
But engineering is something that all of us are familiar with, and
Right.
is advantageous when it comes to capturing ideals and getting those ideals out.
Right. And yeah, I definitely believe it is. But just to play the devil's advocate and just ask questions that I'm otherwise unfamiliar with, are there points when somebody's taste of engineering conflicts with others' taste in the bands? Like, oh man, I prefer to use Pro Tools, I prefer to use Logic, or maybe more specifically, I prefer less reverb. I prefer plate as opposed to a different type of reverb.
I don't know that we've quite got to like far enough producing this album to know that yet.
Right.
But I think we're all pretty diplomatic on that.
Absolutely.
We can all vocalize our opinions without it being like.
How do you guys maintain that? Because that's deeper than music.
I would say an example of it is tracking his drums. You know.
Yeah.
So one example is
Sorry.
I'm sorry. One example is when Tevin was tracking his drums. When you have a skeleton of what you think the song should be like, and you listen to that little skeleton repetitively,
Right.
it's a digital little template that you jam over, and you remove that and you put an organic player behind it, it changes. You know, microphones, the feeling, the intensity. So sometimes you have to like verbalize and navigate. This is what. Can you fall back? Can you do double time? How you articulate, what you express, what you're hearing.
Right.
You know, constructive criticism is about as good as you can articulate it.
Mm.
You know, so if you can articulate, fall back on hi-hats. Give me crashes. Give me toms.
Right.
I'm looking for something
Start
more
breaking down things.
more
Yeah.
cinematic.
Right.
How you describe sections so that that individual can get from point A to point B.
Right.
The way that you visualize it in your head. Communication.
That's a great way of explaining that. Right now, I'm studying project management. You know, deals with setting up a building in X amount of days and yada yada. But
I'm a project manager.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. So
On the government side.
so you can see the relationship
Absolutely.
between that and a project like an album or just a song. You know, that was a great way of explaining
Yes,
that.
sir.
Now I can see how.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I guess we kind of strayed away from it initially, but when you guys were growing up, was music ever competitive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably just for me though.
Yeah.
I'm
like, what?
That's funny.
No, but
I think that goes to the younger, older sibling dynamic, though.
Right.
I think it was just more frustrating for me than necessarily competitive. We started taking piano lessons at the same time, and I was younger,
Right.
so I didn't take to it as easily as he did.
Right.
And so he got really good really fast, and I could read music, but I couldn't articulate it. I had small little baby hands, and that would frustrate me, so I just stopped playing piano altogether for a long time. And so then the competitiveness was I didn't like that he could play an instrument, I couldn't, and even though I knew I couldn't play the same that he could, I just started trying to learn different instruments, which ended up working out in my favor.
Yeah.
I learned 5 or 6, not like polished, but like how to play different instruments until I found kind of where I fit in more with my music, which was more, and eventually came back to piano, and I'm better at it now. But writing music is where I kind of fell into.
Well, but she can sing like Adele, and I
I've
can't.
seen her
Point blank.
Bust out. Who was it? What was the name of that guy that played the harmonica?
Oh, Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Not Billy Joel. The other guy that they made the movie about.
Oh, the Timothy Chalamet movie.
No.
Oh, Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
She busted out a Bob Dylan cover, playing guitar, singing, and then with the harmonica.
That's really cool.
And I was like, bro. Harmonica, singing, piano, guitar. One day, Tevin jumped off of the drum set, and Raven just jumped behind the drum set. And I was like,
Limitless.
I was like, bro.
Yeah, no, that's
There
awesome.
was drum triggers, and she's just banging away, and I was like,
Right.
yes.
It's like when Magic Johnson played 5 positions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible. As competition usually does inspire. Let's see. Yeah, that Civil War sounds like an Adele song.
Most of them that you'll hear as they come out, they have a very Adele vibe. She likes.
I'm really excited, man.
Adele and who's your other muse? Like Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo. They all kind of have that eerie sound to their vocals.
Yeah.
And I like orchestrated.
Sounds a reverb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like orchestrated music. My favorite composer is Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
So I like kind of the large orchestrated sound behind the rock song.
That's something that you can get with the band and not typically with an individual is when you've got somebody that likes something, somebody that likes something else, somebody that's just naturally gifted in a certain way. You blend them together and you get something that's unprecedented.
And what we've never had with just me producing tracks is live drums, live bass. Well, I used to record live bass and live guitar, but we're originally from Dallas.
Oh, really?
When we moved here, setup kind of got hodgepodge, and it just became more easy for me to record everything digitally.
Right.
So I do most of it on my synthesizer. And so until we met them, all the drum tracks, I made them on my keyboard.
Right.
All the bass, I made it on my keyboard. I'd still record a little bit of my guitar solos live, but now having all of those live instruments in the actual production too, game changer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I bet. Yeah,
My favorite part about writing with them is I love the lyric aspect of music. I love poetry and finding different ways to tell stories and different wording and metaphors and stuff. And then to be able to have him throw that like orchestrated feeling behind it makes it feel so cinematic, and that's just really cool.
Damn. Yeah, kind of feeling the lyrics blow up with the song is.
Sure.
Marcus, you mind shutting the curtain a little bit? Cover that. At what age did you guys move from Dallas?
That was 2020. So I'm born on the year, so I was 20 and she was.
You're born on January 1st?
December 14th.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Just almost right there.
Yeah.
Just made it into the 90s.
Yeah, fire. That's really cool.
But yeah, we've lived here 5 years.
Gotcha.
COVID was a rough time to make a move like that, but.
Oh, so it was before or after COVID?
During
COVID. Gotcha.
During COVID, yeah.
Damn.
But if it wasn't for that, we probably would have never learned all the production stuff that we did from just kind of being confined.
That's good. Yeah, I think that happened to a lot of people with music. It was a big time for music.
What were you going to say?
I moved from New York same time.
Oh yeah,
and COVID.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was about to fly to New York to see him, and then they
Yeah.
shut everything down.
Times Square looked like I Am Legend, and I lived like maybe a block away from
It's terrifying. I
Times
never
Square.
thought about that.
Yeah.
And I took a small vacation, 3-day vacation.
Sorry. It,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Took a small 3-day vacation, and it ended up being permanent.
there's a movie about that actually.
Yeah. Which one?
It's like these two go on a date to like Costa Rica, and then COVID shuts down, and there was just supposed to be like a 3-day date. And it was their third date or something, and they were just gonna go for like 3 days to Costa Rica. Shuts down. They're there for like a year.
I couldn't watch those COVID movies they started making. They were too close to reality.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
That sounds like a crazy movie.
Yeah, Tev, what are some differences about Curtis's production style since you met him initially to now?
That's a great question.
Jeez. Drastic. You were on like when I was 12 or whatever. Like we were like in a studio like this recording, and like my bad. He had like a little, what was that thing that you called?
Track recorder, something similar to this, 24 tracks.
Yeah,
Really?
bro. It was nothing crazy.
That's cool.
But like drastically, like the production's more like they were saying, like cinematic. Like it's huger. Like even if you listen to Angels on headphones or in your car, like it's massive. And especially working on my album, like we've really paid attention to detail on things, and just tweaking little things that will tickle your ears, that is like almost ear candy now.
Yeah.
Instead of being like rough, I guess I can say.
Rough, and kind of in what you're saying, like with Thin, was your sound initially thin, or how would you describe your sound from when you started to now?
Probably similar to what you think 3 or 4 mics could get the job done compared to using multiple mics. Instead of using 3 or 4 mics with a limited, I only have 24 tracks. I have different types of paintbrushes and unlimited tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's definitely going to be fuller,
Yeah.
more layered, more polished. Today, we can utilize AI. You know,
How do you utilize AI? In the mastering?
Mastering.
Yeah.
Correct.
Ozone.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of I used to outsource mastering to Japan.
Really?
Correct.
How'd you make a connection like that?
I grew up in Japan, military
Oh.
brat, and friends
know
of
that either.
friends.
Yeah. Yeah, he just mixes our songs. I don't know.
And we're both from Okinawa.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
You're from Okinawa?
Yeah, I was born in Okinawa.
I don't know anything about either.
I went to school in Okinawa, elementary school, middle school, high school, and to be able to send audio to Japan and have it be sent back, I thought that was a cool way to keep the culture.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But Ozone changed the game, you know.
Yeah. At
compared-
what point were you just like, sorry,
I think hearing what it was capable of doing
in a split second?
compared to the lag, I got to send this out. I got to wait for it to be done.
How long?
It was a fairly quick turnaround, but there's things that need to be exported in certain formats for headroom purposes.
Yeah.
And
You just can't. You can't beat it.
yeah,
You
I
can't
mean, and cost. But by the time I've spent the money to do 10 songs, I could already have the program. It gives me different options, you know, subgenres.
It's ridiculous.
I
10 seconds.
I genuinely I appreciate having that software in my arsenal. I think that's probably one of the biggest game changer must-haves
Yeah.
next to some of the vocal suite plugins that I have.
Which I definitely want to talk about that as well. But what's like is it Ozone 10 that you use or Ozone
I
11?
believe it's 10.
Yeah. That's what people say. Like the Ozone 11's all right, but 10 was the peak.
10 is doing what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And what type of vocal plugins? You don't have to give away the secret sauce. though.
I use quite a bit. Anatrace, pitch correction, waves, RVux.
Yeah.
Sound Toys has been the biggest clutch.
Sound toys.
Sound
Will
Toys
sound toys make me
suite.
sound like Raven?
Sure.
Perfect.
Sound Toys has been probably the biggest modern purchase that I can say that makes things three-dimensional. Sound Toys.
It's funny how you can configure different art forms to make it, and like it actually makes sense. You know, like making music sound 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stereo imaging, delays,
The widening.
choruses, reverbs, saturation. They're. I think what's cool about that Sound Toys plugin is how much it emulates analog
Gotcha.
and the warmth behind their suite.
Do you use sidechain?
I do.
Yeah.
Vocals, bass, drums.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing on the production?
Oh yeah, go for it.
It's awesome that all of you guys know production.
Another thing on his production, when I first started, it was like 2007 or 2006, and we didn't have the things that we have now. So like back then, you had to know how to do your shit. Like you didn't have to like download something. Oh my God, here we go. We got a song in like 2 minutes. Like that shit took us probably like months to get down.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that actually. It was like they base some plugins off of how the Beatles sounded.
Abbey
Yeah.
Roads.
Right, the Abbey
Yeah.
Road plugins. It's like, how are they that good that in 2025 I'm trying to sound like 1975, 1965?
I think people gravitated towards that sound, the airiness, the crackling.
The crackling.
You know,
You didn't even need a vinyl.
the saturation.
Right.
There's just
And everything was tubed back then.
correct tube.
Tubed. What does tubed mean?
Tube is going to have more warmth to it.
Oh.
Like this could be considered solid state. You add tubes into the equation, and it's going to make your microphones warmer.
Right.
And yeah,
It gives it more heart.
More hard. Right. It's
than
like,
more of a mechanical sound.
yeah, yeah. At some point, you're right. Like at some point, I think I see it most in like pictures that are taken nowadays. Like the pictures are just too elite. Like it's like it takes away from the 1980s basketball pictures.
Yes.
Are so vintage. Obviously, they weren't the best technology, but like, gosh, man, those posters are so tough. And nowadays, it's like you can get the best angle, the perfect colorways. You know.
I feel that way about a lot of the phone cameras. It's like the photo is too good.
It's too
It's
good.
feeling out of it.
Yeah.
It just throws you off.
It does.
But like the old ones used to look like a painting. You know,
yeah.
with a warm, yeah. So it's interesting. You know, art is subjective. You know,
Absolutely.
it's like we can creep so closely to like the perfect sound, but it's like you kind of miss the one that wasn't so perfect. But
The point of emotions are that they're not perfect.
right, it's interesting. What's it like getting a pop-up audition for The Voice?
Oh, that was
That was
that
crazy.
was insane. It was very much just like an impulse decision. I was at work one day and it just scrolling through Instagram and I just saw it pop up and I was like, I'm tired of seeing this on my feed. So I just like clicked submit and it was like a 30-second sign up. And I didn't think it even submitted because it was that fast. So I did it like 12 times. And then I got an email back like a few hours later and it was like, congratulations, you have the first slot. And I was like, oh. And then it was like, you have to be in Nashville in 2 days. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, she texted me and was like, oh, by the way, I signed us up to go to a voice audition. You need to drive me. And I'm like, and I said, well, okay, the chances of like that actually happening are like low, but okay, whatever. And then like a few hours later, oh, I have the first slot. We have to be there in like a day.
Yeah,
Now, but did you guys know what the landscape was like before you ventured to Nashville?
not at all.
Like,
Nah, that's a crazy trip.
like
there.
landscape, like had we ever been to Nashville before,
Because
or
they
would know
could-
what to expect from the
Right.
audition?
Yeah, I mean, they could have like had the address lead to a trailer park, and it was like,
Oh, well, no,
Gotcha. No, we.
it was at Old Red. It was at Blake Shelton's
oh, okay, gotcha.
at his bar in Nashville on
So it was legit.
Broadway
Broadway
Street,
Street. Yeah,
yeah.
we've been
Well,
down there before.
Right, right. I mean, I saw the video; it looked legit.
Yeah.
Were you guys nervous?
very because
Yeah.
I didn't have any time to process it though.
Actually,
either.
yeah, I was gonna say, take that back. We weren't nervous. We didn't have time to be nervous, and we just went there, no sleep, drove through like middle of the night.
I got home from work that night, the day that I signed up, and we had like the next day I had to go to work. I came home and I practiced, and then we left the next day at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So
by next day, like few hours later.
It was very like back and forth, and we just drove there and back that same day.
You didn't ask for the day off?
I called in sick. I called in sick for the day that we had left. I had just got that job.
Wow.
So like I didn't have sick time. I didn't like know the people. I ended up getting a new manager the day that I called in sick. So that was not great repertoire for when I got back.
And I think I was a contractor at the time, and I was in the middle of like a remodel, and so there was no calling in. Like I had to go back and do that.
Damn.
So there was no scenario where we could just go there and chill. It had to be go there and immediately come back.
I had 2 jobs at the time too, so I was able to trade away some of my shifts for my one job, and then I just called in sick for the second job.
And it was just you 2 guys that went?
Yeah. We drove there and back same day because I had to be back to work at my first job at 4 a.m. the next day.
Bro.
And I think I worked both jobs that next day too. And they were like, "Where were you? I thought you were sick yesterday." And I was like, feel better.
You ever put whole food in the microwave and how it gets all soggy and everything? That was like how we felt internally after all that.
Jeez.
It was really cool meeting all the other artists that signed up and stuff though.
Running off adrenaline, man.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch. I think that season comes out.
Oh shit. Damn. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
We didn't make it onto the like TV recording of it. We made it through however many.
Like 3 preliminary stages.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But there's some of those people that were there may very well have made it on to
Yeah, I definitely
the show.
am excited to watch it to see if any of the people I met got to make it through.
Well, that's still really cool, man. That's still really, really cool. Gosh, man. Well, I mean, what was let's see. Yeah, I mean, how do you remain poised off like no sleep? Like if I don't get sleep, I'm just like terrible, like in any aspect.
I think I'm just kind of used to it. It's kind of how I run off of life in general.
That's our whole life.
Yeah, I get maybe 2 hours of sleep a night.
Oh my god.
That's my whole MO.
When I was younger, I used to jam with these guys, and we made up this random song, and somebody yelled out in the middle of it, "Act like you know what you're doing," and that's like our MO. Sometimes you just gotta fake it till you make it, and but then you get experience from that.
Right.
Then you do know what you're doing at some point, You got to start somewhere.
When I still had those 2 jobs, going to band practice, I would work first job from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., second job 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., then I'd go straight from there to his house to jam, and then I'd get home at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then I'd have to be back to work at 4 a.m., so I'd
No, that's crazy.
An hour or 2 of sleep, wake up at like 2 or 3 a.m.
We said, look, that's a lot of burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
We could switch this around a little bit.
Right. So how did y'all change? Because that's just.
We jam on
Well,
days off.
I dropped off. I dropped off one of the jobs.
Yeah. Now she has no off days.
Well, at the time, I really didn't. I was working 6 days a week minimum.
Fucking way.
But I dropped off one of my jobs, so now I'm just working the one job. So now I have a somewhat normal schedule. So yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, that's the most impressive thing I've ever heard, man. That's crazy.
Hustling.
Yeah. Golly. I don't know how you have a voice after doing all that. That's crazy.
Oh, sometimes I didn't. They would all be set up in like the main area, and then there was this little bench by his front door that I would be literally laying down on, like half asleep singing.
With my 50-foot mic cord that I bring that was making fun of.
Just be stretched all the way across the room. They'd be like, "Raven, you still awake over there?" Barely.
That's why the vibe in sorry, I'm forgetting the name of it. Is it Falling Ashes?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why that's like a sleepy vibe. The lights are off. Yeah. Right before that take, she was asleep, and then it was like, all right, wake up and take another take. Which I really like that video. That's, I mean, that looks like I mean, it is. It's a professional video. It's like the vibe's cool. It seems like it's fitting the song, and I like the song. I mean, is that something that you guys are going to tap into more? Is like creating snippets like that from your sessions?
We're trying to work on. We talked about the other day getting at least one single out with everybody on it, and then like a small music video to go along with it. And yeah, it'll probably be in that same setup that we had there in that one video that you're talking about. We'll probably put that one on YouTube and stuff. The ones for Instagram are more kind of for preliminary marketing, but
Right.
we're really working towards getting the whole album out and getting a more polished production.
I've got no reason to be saying this from my position, but this is, I don't want this to sound like I've got experience in this, but in the same way that production takes a lot of research, the other side of music, like promoting and music videos, as I'm sure you know already, I mean, how do you plan on, I guess, doing that the right way?
So we're trying to network with some other people that are into. Granted, Curtis does some video production, and so we're good for in-house music videos, with him all the way. His setup is dope, but we've got some creative ideas that will take a little time and money to execute, for some of those music videos. When we'll get to doing that, I'm not sure, but definitely want to try and get with some people that are into videography and VFX in the future, and try and execute at least one of them.
How many songs are going
Marketing is definitely, I would say marketing is where most local musicians probably fall short.
Man, it's tough as...
The game changes, it's fluent, and a lot of times you'll find yourself completing a project, a song, a video, and you feel like that's the finish line. But when you reset the line and you say that's not the finish line, that's the starting line, that's tough, because all of us are creative. It's easier for us to create than it is to go out there and push
Right.
the brand. I think for us, a good remedy to that would be live podcasts,
Right.
Exposure,
Right.
meet and greets, even if it be after an event. Who did we meet through this process that's on the same journey, like-minded individuals? I think that those are beneficial ways.
I do Uber, and I will show our music to anybody if they even bring up music. Like, I actually make music.
Right.
yeah. I will show that music to anybody that will listen to it, and try and make some connections that way.
Just have it playing every car ride, no matter what.
Sometimes I try not solicit it on people, but if they bring up music in the conversation organically, then
right.
Yeah.
Like, man, I really like this artist. Do you know who this is?
Yeah. What do you think of the guy on piano?
Right. Speaking of that as well, in the video of perception of the piano player, I really like that. I play the piano. I'm never in a band, but
nice.
It's cool to see you got the drums going crazy, you got the guitar, and the piano players kind of balancing on the same notes. That would be me. I know some people are really advanced with it, but I like that concept of video.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was an afterthought.
Cool. Let's see. Yeah, I think you guys answered a lot of my questions. I guess it's surprising that Civil War has been the only song over the last 6 months, but I'm excited to see what's coming next with the music. Do you guys have a timeline for that?
So, I don't know about a timeline, but I did want to talk about the name of the album is going to be Out of the Fire. Kind of embodying a story, and anybody feel free to chime in on defining this, but of working through your problems.
Gotcha.
You say you're refined through fire. I think that idea is embodied through the message in each of those songs. They all kind of have a apocalyptic feel.
Cool.
Like James Bond, Hunger Games,
Gotcha.
Divergent series, that kind of thing. And they kind of tell a semi-congruent story of working through your trauma, working through the pain, and coming out on the other side.
Dude, yeah, that's a terrific way to describe your sound. At least in the snippets that I've heard in Civil War, it is post-apocalyptic. You kind of have like an eerie female voice in the background, the cinematic going on, the heavy guitar. That's an awesome blend of sounds, man. I'm really excited to see it work out in this project.
Thank you.
Do you know when you're gonna drop it?
To be determined.
To be
Still-
determined.
still in process.
Still in process. We want a good finished product.
Yeah.
We don't want to rush it. We've put a lot of thought and effort and emotion into each of those songs. We've got Civil War, Falling Ashes,
Gosh.
Battle Cry, I think is the one that we're going to do for the open mic here in a little bit. The last track is called Exodus. That one needs a little bit more work, but we're...
And
That
what
one
is?
we've been working on for... When did you start writing Love and War?
Love and War, wrote that in 2017. I have put that hook in like 30 different songs that I've wrote.
The melody of it.
And I could never get it to fit. And I gave it to her like 2 years ago. And I'm like, dude, you need to help me finish this. And it sat for however long until
We kind of
few
went
months
through like
ago.
a similar experience, and I just kind of was like really feeling that in
Right.
one moment. And I had this, I guess, poem you could say that didn't really have music to it, but it was just like this story
Right.
written out in words. And I was like, it needs music to it. And I finally was like, hey, what were the chords to that song you wrote all that time ago? And I finally was able to match it up to it.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my God, it happened!
I like that song as well. It's the I Love You Was the First Mistake.
Yeah.
We Need to Break Up. It also it has like that Take Me to Church melody, if you noticed.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's what I thought of it. I thought y'all were doing a cover at first, but then it goes high pitch like after the first two. But yeah, I'm looking forward to
So
that one as
something
well.
that I kind of have inspiration on from that song is some of the music from La La Land.
Gotcha.
The kind of jig that they do on the piano in one of those songs.
Right.
A little bit of a muse for that, but I do kind of hear the Take Me to Church vibe.
I think that probably came more from me. I loved that song when I was like 12.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, trust me.
That, and by the way, is the first song that I would say that's a 50-50 collaboration. And then, of course, what they do is completely their own individuality. We all kind of came in and made that song. That's the first one that's happened on. A lot of the rest of them are somebody wrote it and gave it to the other person and then kind of brought it along from then, small revisions. That one I feel like is a pretty even mesh. So we're excited about that one for sure.
Really cool. And what about touring at some point? Is that something you guys look forward to?
So we have talked about playing at some venues in Pensacola,
Yeah.
but I think we all just want to make sure that we're got our sound together and tight. We're going to introduce some backing tracks here pretty soon and
I think we'll be really dope.
start working with those. And then, yeah.
I really respect how mature you guys are about the music because, again, I have no reason to be talking about it, but when I've made some music of my own, I was just like, it's just so greedy for my friends to hear it, and just felt like I definitely rushed the process. So it's awesome that you guys have so much passion about the art that you're willing to, push off the short-term engagement and save that.
It's hard to do.
Definitely, man.
It's hard to do, but
Especially
it's...
when you take a song that you're feeling so deeply in one moment,
Right.
and
you
then
just,
2 years later, it's like you're playing it over and over again. You're like, I don't even feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, you want people to feel it when you feel it.
Long-term
But
vulnerability.
it don't work like
Which
that.
makes it harder /
That's true. That's
different
true.
to write music and to leave it for more interpretation rather than keeping the lyrics so specific so that you can kind of grow with the song and it doesn't have to stay being about what you originally wrote it about. It can be...
Because it's for your listeners at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about how it makes them feel at that point, not anymore what you were experiencing when you wrote it.
Right.
And that, again, goes to, like, the name of the group. It takes on new forms to each listener. Everybody kind of brings something to it. Concert experiences. You've got millions of people there listening to your stuff and singing along. It changes it,
Creates
It means
that
something
contingence.
different to every person
Yeah.
that's hearing it, yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm really looking forward to it. Is there anything else you guys would like to put on the table?
You want to say anything about the song we're about to play?
Battle Cry. So we both inherited some health issues, and Battle Cry is a song that she wrote, kind of embodies that, the feeling of the everyday struggle, but keeping at it, keep going no matter how hard it gets. You don't give up. kind of gives you the feeling of watching like a Rocky Balboa movie. I think a Creed movie had just came out when she wrote that.
I wrote it as we were leaving the theater.
Damn. I appreciate that vulnerability again, man. Yeah, looking forward to it now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, and coming by. Contingence, stay tuned with them. They've got a great sound and coming to theaters near you soon.
Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast.